Hey guys, what's up? Mrparka here. It is week 159, and first I want to start this off. I don't want to get in too much detail about it because it's really still It's really bothering me still, and I just don't want to turn this into that type of thing because my cat passed away. We had to have him put down. He was probably my favorite pet I've ever had. I was very close to the cat. Saved him, nursed him back to health, but we had to put Goblin down because he had lymphoma. Uh, and it was really rough. So if I'm off, excuse king in full swing. But let's start this out. I'm going to announce a contest that where MVD is putting on, Blue Underground kind of stuff. And this is for the 4K releases of Maniac and Zombie. This is 4K releases of both of them. You get both of them. You also get a zombie hat, which is pretty cool. It's a fitted one. It's a snapback. I don't wear hats very much, so you get a little patch here, and you get this pretty cool mural. If I can hold it up for you guys. I'm gonna hold this damn thing up the right way. Here we go. It's pretty awesome. Gotta love Zombie. All right, it's one of my favorite movies. And this is pretty much the same release as the release they put out earlier, the 3-disc, except it's in 4K, so it looks top notch. They actually remastered these in Dolby Atmos and cleaned it up a bit. So I'll like jump into the features and everything a little bit because I wanted to check these out. I reviewed those 3-disc, but I feel like I'll be a little bit brief because I checked these out, and I don't even think my TV and sound system is remotely good enough to like actually show how good these damn things look. But man, A Zombie is just a classic movie. I've talked about it numerous times. If you want detail, go back to that 3-disc review. But regardless, everything from the score to the acting, I just adore the movie. The plot, the setup, it's just a perfect combination of Fulci, De Rossi, special effects, Fabio Frizzi's score, and there's another guy who contributed to the score. Does a really good job. And also, like I said, you got Richard Johnson in there, Tisa Farrow, Ian McCullen. So you got McCulloch, or however the hell you say his last name. You got lots of great people involved with the movie, and like I said, he had like his best producer at the time, his best cinematographer, Salvetti. So it's just quintessential adventure Italian horror movie. I love the damn thing. I think it's great. I think it's iconic. I think it works best as a prequel to Dawn of the Dead, actually, but everybody knows the story. Zombie 2. Zombie flesh eaters. So yeah, just an amazing movie. On the disc, like I said, there's audio commentary with Troy Howarth, another one with Ian McCullen, and there's a interview with Stephen Thrower, and then there's theatrical trailers, Del Toro intro, and then we have Big Zombie Wasteland documentary, Ian McCullen, Richard Johnson, Al Cliver, the stuntman who played the titular zombie on the cover. Then we have an interview with the producer, interview with the co-writers, interview with the cinematographer, production designer, interviews with the makeup artist. It's just everybody on this. Interview with the composer, interview with Fulci's daughter, and finally interview zombie lover Del Toro talks about one of his favorite movies. So this damn thing is loaded. It's a great release. It looks phenomenal. You can win that if you really are interested. All it takes is for you to basically send your email to screamingtoilet@gmail.com and like the Screaming Toilet Facebook page, and then you're entered into the contest. Just leave your address in that email so I don't have to track you down. I'm willing to ship internationally, even though it might cost me an arm and a leg, but I'll do it for you guys. And the second movie in this package is, of course, William Lustig, who runs Blue Underground's Maniac. Kind of quintessential video nasty. Zombie's a video nasty too. But Joe Spinell, character actor, one of his finest performances. It's just a tremendous kind of updated Psycho, really twisted, really gory. Effects by Tom Savini, Carolyn Monroe's in it. Just quintessential sleazy, gritty New York City. It looks fantastic on 4K. The sound's great. Just two top-notch releases by Blue Underground. And I'm actually going to ask the question of the week a little early, just because it's directly tied into this. So I want to know if you guys, what 4K release you want to see Blue Underground put out next. I know they have New York Ripper and House by the Cemetery, two Fulci greats on the slate. I heard that Daughters of Darkness and The Final Countdown are in the works. So, and just let me know what 4K release you'd like to see Blue Underground put out. So I guess I'm going to hop into the reviews. The first one here is Satanico Pandemonium. This is from 1975. It's a Mondo Macabro release, and I actually have heard of this movie. In fact, I had the old DVD. I never actually did watch it. And fun fact: everybody knows that Selma Hayek's character is actually named after this movie from Dusk Till Dawn, of course. And this is nunsploitation at its finest, Mexican nunsploitation in the similar vein of Alucarda. On the back, they claim it's like the Devils, inspired by the Devils in Alucarda, and that's definitely kind of the case here. I was really enjoying this one. They have it's just kind of a nun who's just like beloved by everyone, and she pretty quick in the beginning. She's kind of being like tempted by Satan. It's obviously Satan. He's kind of in the woods and he has an apple, and it's just very obvious, right off the bat. So eventually, she's trying to deal with this in the convent, and like a lot of the other nuns look up to her. She's kind of like, she's right under Mother Superior, but she's almost like seemingly the fan favorite in the convent. One day, Satan tricks her as he would, and I love how he tricks her. It involves lesbianism, and I don't think it's a nun movie unless there's lesbianism in it. Do you guys correct me or not? Is it a nun movie if lesbianism is not included? I really don't think so. Killer Nun. I can't remember if Flava the Heretic has it or not, but of course, Alucarda has that sense in there as well. But anyways, Satan tricks her, and after she lays with Satan, she starts to kind of lose her, grip on her morality. And there's this really kind of a couple of really twisted scenes in here, where one of the characters is really kind of, kind of like on a rope's end. I'll leave it at that. And she comes along and she kind of, helps it along. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe they did that. And then there's a really kind of intense scene where she kind of seduces. It's like pedophilia scene, like a rape, really. And it's the opposite, because you rarely see it in a movie where an older female kind of has her sights on a younger male, which I thought was kind of interesting in this movie. It's pretty enjoyable. The ending's kind of wonky and weird and crazy. And it becomes, of course, really big and sexualized at the end, but then there's like kind of a twist. I enjoyed it. I thought it looked really good. I thought where they shot it was wonderful. I like these nunsploitation movies. I still think Alucarda and The Devils, of course, are kind of at the top of the heap for me. The Devils, I think, is like a masterpiece of cinema. I think is like one of the best things ever made. And I think Alucarda is just so crazy and gets so big at the end that I just absolutely adore it. But this one has similarities to Alucarda and The Devils, but I feel like it never goes to that almost super over the top point, but there is a couple moments here and there. Kat Ellinger and Sam Deegan do an audio commentary, which is fantastic, of course. Really enjoyed hearing their input on this kind of movie, because they're pretty much the experts, I would say, on this stuff. They had a podcast called Daughters of Darkness, where they dive into things like this movie and several other movies that I've actually seeked out because of them. So it's a nice release from Mondo Macabro. Looks good, sounds good, nice special features as well.
Es imposible describir las caras de los réprobos, si bien es cierto que la de aquellos que pertenecen a una misma sociedad infernal son bastante parecidas.
Toma, muérdela.
Hija mía, ¿qué turba tu conciencia?
Nada, madre.
¿Tu boca quiere hablar? ¿Tus labios me quieren decir algo? Pero tienes miedo.
Acepto tus condiciones. Acepto.
Para mí no existe el infierno, sino que yo soy el infierno.
Diviértete y goza. Te lo mereces.
Okay, the next one here is also from Mondo Macabro, and this is an Umberto Lenzi classic. This is An Ideal Place to Kill. This is also called Oasis of Fear, which Shameless DVD put out, and I had years ago. Do not be confused with the Severn box set that's coming out, the big Carolyn Baker, Umberto Lenzi box set that they're putting out with 4 movies in there. Some of the names are similar and alternate names with this, but this is a completely different movie. Mondo Macabro is the only one to release it on a Blu-ray, as far as I know, and in the States for sure. So this one stars Ray Lovelock, who, you know, I know from Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, one of my favorite movies. He's also in Live Like a Cop, Die Like a Man, Almost Human. He has, you know, a few movies that I've seen him pop up in. But this one reminds me of a bit, like, you know that movie Villains that came out recently? It's like that, but it's also kind of like a lot of those home invasion movies, but it also has that hippies versus kind of a richer kind of people deal, though. Definitely a little classism going on here. But Ray Lovelock and his girlfriend, I can't think of her name. She does pop up. She's in Flash Gordon. So those two are basically these kind of hippies that are driving through. I believe are they English? I think they are English, even though they describe them on the radio report as German. But they are English, or they think they are German at one point. But they're English, and they're in Italy. And he's selling pornographic pictures of his girlfriend to people for money, and they're kind of caught, and they're told to get out of Italy ASAP. They run out of gas. They end up kind of going into this mansion because they're being like chased because they did something else, and they're being reported possibly for something they didn't do. So they're on the run. So they end up stopping in this garage. They call it an oasis, and I believe that's another term for like a kind of a bigger building or whatever, or the structure. I'm not necessarily sure. Oasis to me has always been like the desert, you know, kind of thing. An oasis in the middle of a desert, a paradise kind of deal. But the house, maybe they're considered it's a paradise, it's an oasis. But regardless, I'm a dummy. Don't listen to me. So they go in the house and they're going to plan on siphoning the gas. The woman who owns the house catches them, and it creates kind of this big head game thing throughout the duration of the movie, and there's twists and turns, and there's a murder and all sorts of things here. And I actually really enjoyed the head games and stuff in this one. Actually, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the opening. The music in here is really good. How can you live your life if you can't? That song gets stuck in your head. They play it like 30 freaking times, and I do like the crazy montage in the beginning, how free-spirited these two are. And they're like two beautiful young people, and like they're using their like looks and their ideas, but of course, you know, the older woman has more experience and everything, and there's some twists, and how it unfolds is fairly solid, and I enjoyed it. And the ending is pretty cool, but you know, like if you see my review on Letterboxd, it slightly kind of it is a spoiler, but I think it's really funny. So if you want to check it out and you've seen the movie, go ahead and look it up. I don't want to spoil it too much. But yeah, I think this one is enjoyable. Like I said, it's a good kind of thriller, good twist here. But what I really like seeing was an Umberto Lenzi interview on here where he talks about the script and arguing kind of with the producer. He's like, I want them to be selling drugs, but they did not want to sell drugs, so they made me sell porno, and then it completely outdates. And it kind of ruined the script. He's like, it ruined the movie because now it's outdated. You know, just thinking about it, because you can just look up porn on the computer. It doesn't really work. And he's like, they kind of screwed that script up. Lenzi was always pretty... I liked how Lenzi was always blunt. Some of these guys are just so blunt and honest with it. Like George Eastman was always blunt and honest. Like so I really like Lenzi too. Like he'll be like, Cannibal Ferox is like, I did not like doing this. You know, it's like almost like he's like, I did not like this movie. But he's talking about Oasis of Fear could have been a much better movie if the producers would have let him initially write his you know, follow that script. And he talks about how he worked on most of the movies he directed. He wrote partially on the scripts. There's only a handful that he didn't work on. So it's a nice release. Looks really good. Sounds good. I believe you actually can watch this in Italian. Does this one have both languages on here? Oop. How come that always happens to me? Sorry, guys, but I believe it does have both languages on here. Yeah, it has English and Italian audio choices. I always do the Italian movies in English just because that's the way I watched them growing up. And, you know, most of the actors I would be familiar with are speaking their native language, even though I don't think any of these guys are actually American in this one, or speaking English in this one. But yeah, Ideal Place to Kill, aka Oasis of Fear. Good thriller, memorable, well acted, and I like how it unfolds.
How can you live your life if people won't let you live? like my desperate baby, so you'll never be free.
Lampi di luce balenano sui loro volti. Azzurro, il mare. Questo è il posto ideale per vivere senza angosce. Viola, penombra. Questo è il posto ideale per amare senza inibizioni. Rosso, il sangue. Questo è il posto ideale per uccidere senza pietà. Erano partiti carichi di sogni, privi di tabù.
Non è una vacanza. Siamo dei volontari missionari che portano la luce della libertà sessuale in questo paese.
Noi vogliamo la pace! La pace!
Ora, attimo per attimo, la mostruosa macchina del delitto li trascina in un pauroso ingranaggio senza via d'uscita.
Mi passi la polizia, per favore.
È una partita a tre. Una misteriosa figura di donna guida la danza. In lei affiora l'odio, o forse l'amore.
Ora basta.
Due occhi gelidi, un corpo di marmo, una corsa alla morte. Lì qualcuno ha scelto il suo posto ideale per uccidere. È tutto assurdo, tutto irreale, meno l'ombra della morte, vicina, dietro a ognuno di loro.
Dick, sto per mettermi a urlare. Annaffiamo nel buio come ciechi. Siamo in trappola.
Devo essere svenuta. Quando mi ripresi era come se fossero passati 1000 anni. È stato un incubo che si è protratto per 2 giorni.
Lentamente, atrocemente, il cerchio si chiude. Un cervello preordina. Scatta l'attimo del terrore. La mano sta per colpire, perché quello è il posto ideale per uccidere.
Okay, bear with me on the Patreon picks. I watched them very early in the week, and I got a bunch of them. So the first Patreon pick is Uncut Gems by Dan the Cameraman. And I wanted to watch this. I really did. I kept putting it off. I don't know why. And I had gotten over, a lot of people like, I ain't watching that because Adam Sandler's the star, and I really don't like Adam Sandler. But I'd heard so many good things. It was A24. And I knew Adam Sandler could act. I've seen him act differently in other things like The Wedding Singer and be more serious. And I've always wanted to continue loving Adam Sandler. I grew up in the SNL days when I was like, in the early 90s, I was young, and him and Chris Farley were kings. You know, they were kings of comedy to me. Him and Norm and all those guys. I thought they were the funniest guys ever. So I grew up loving Adam Sandler, and then there was a stretch, and I got older, and I just didn't think his movies were funny anymore. They're just cheap, and just not cheap, but just like they didn't appeal to me. So when Uncut Gems was coming out, I was interested. You know, I heard it's good things. It got kind of snuffed by the Oscars, so I put this in. And gambling movies really bother me. Not in a negative way. They're effective. That's why they bother me. The one with Philip Seymour Hoffman, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Somebody picked it for a Patreon, or pick a movie where he is basically gambling away his company's assets and stuff. And that movie drove me nuts. Uncut Gems. I know a million people have said this. I don't, and I'm just like beating, you know, the same drum. But I literally was grabbing my hair during the whole movie doing this and just being like, I can't watch this. I can't watch this. It's essentially like a gambling version of Bad Lieutenant, with Harvey Keitel, the Bel Ferrer movie, where you basically just watch this guy screw up so many freaking times, and you're just waiting for the inevitable, and it just drives you nuts. Like, you have Adam Sandler's character, who's this guy, this like really Jewish guy who runs this kind of like pawn shop, high-end pawn shop, where he sells watches and gems and all these kind of things. And he kind of brushes shoulders with some famous people, a really famous basketball player who's pretty good in this one, and he has like help and everything like that. He's also has a girlfriend on the side while he's dealing with his wife and 2 kids, and his family life and all those kind of things. So in a lot of aspects, Adam Sandler is just he's a bad guy, but for some reason you really like him, or you want him to stop screwing up his life. You want him to get his life on track, but it's never going to happen because he has this gambling addiction. And at the end, it gets so, to me, I was like, it's just so over the top right now. Like, I can't believe that he is doing this. I can't believe that this is happening. I want to die right now. It's you ever get so much anxiety or suspense in a movie where you almost just want the worst to happen to the character so it can be over and you can relax and it's just done, and you just knew it was going to happen. It's just done. But Eric Bogosian is in this movie, and he is phenomenal. And he is a guy that Adam Sandler owes a bunch of money to, but they have a kind of a complex relationship. And his character, you know, you think the guy he owes money to would be 100% villain, but I found myself being more compassionate towards him. And I actually liked him better than Adam Sandler in the movie. He's an excellent actor. After watching stuff like Talk Radio, I've been I'd seen him pop up at stuff like Under Siege 2, and he's always good. But man, he is so top-notch in Talk Radio. Just a fantastic performance, and he's really good in this too. And to see him act with Adam Sandler was really good. But this movie is anxiety-inducing. It's shot really well. It's highly depressing and just heartbreaking, but very good. Very well made. And my rating, I only give it a 4 out of 5. It's probably better than that, but it just made me feel so bad. And sometimes I like feeling bad, other times I don't. And this one just was that kind of thing where it drove me mad. Like, it was just something that I don't know if I want to rewatch, because I just wanted out of there. I wanted out. I did not want to be in this world anymore. But that's Uncut Gems. Really good.
How you doing, Holly? How's it going? Howard?
Good Pesach, Howard.
All right, Larry, you're a Jew again. Welcome back.
I made a crazy risk, a gamble, and it's about to pay off.
So I want the Celtics to cover. I want the Celtics halftime. I want Garnett points and rebounds.
What do you know?
I don't know. I just know.
Well, I'll tell you what I know. That's the dumbest fucking bet I ever heard of.
I disagree. I disagree, Gary.
What is that?
I started it.
Yeah. Are you serious?
You're taking my money all over town, placing bets.
I'm having very serious second thoughts.
Are you serious right now?
I know I fucked up.
Howard, where's the money right now?
Howard, got my money?
Howard!
Is it too late? I'm done. It means nothing. It meant nothing. Please. Give me another shot.
You like to win, right? This is no different than that.
Black June power, nigga.
This is my fucking way.
You think I'm stupid, Howard? You and your whole fucking family. I heard you resurface your fucking swimming pool. You know how that makes me feel?
Never
You think your life is more important than my life?
I don't know who said that.
I told you about how things were gonna go. You like the way things are going now?
That's my family.
Get the kids out of the house.
You having a good time?
Yes.
This is me. This is how I win. KJ, it's game night. You should be stretching out.
What is he, a coach?
Nah, he's just a fucking crazy-ass Jew.
Okay, the next one is another Patreon pick by my buddy Derek B, and he picked Moonrise Kingdom by Wes Anderson. You know, there's some directors that I never really dived into their filmography. There's so many people out there, and I've always been more of a cult kind of horror guy, or more action, crime, western, that kind of thing. So, but I do have, you know, a soft side, I guess you'd say, and Moonrise Kingdom. So I put this in, and I never had seen it. And I look at the cast, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Frances McDormand, Bill Murray, Bruce Willis, Edward Norton, Harvey Keitel's in here. And I was just like, that's a great cast. That's a very wonderful cast. Tilda Swinton. So it has like these people that I've seen so many things and they're always really good. Except Bruce Willis is not always good. But watching this, my favorite part about this, one of my favorite parts about it is Bruce Willis. When let's say 15 years ago, is probably my top 3 favorite actors of all time. And over time, he just like dwindled where I felt like he didn't care. But when he's in something good or something unique, he like comes back to life. And I was watching Bruce Willis back to life again, and this was really great. So this is a story about a kid who is like a Boy Scout. They don't call them Boy Scouts. What do they call them? I don't remember what. Khaki Scouts. And him and this girl fall in love. They're both on this small kind of island. It has its own, it's in the 50s. It's its own civilization. Bruce Willis is like the police captain, and he's involved with Frances McDormand, who's married to Bill Murray. And those two are the parents of the girl that the Khaki Scout falls in love with. So the Khaki Scout basically comes from an orphanage. His family had died. And him and the girl, who feel like misfits and outcasts, decide to kind of run away together, and it brings this whole big chase. But it's like a weird fantasy fairy tale kind of deal, but it's really quirky and sweet and also weird and genuine, and it's really nice love story between the two. But like I said, it's not like it's sappy, but it's also weird, and it feels kind of it hits the right emotions. It somehow gets the real emotions out of you but still being fantastical. I don't know how to explain that. It sets up some things really well that pay off. All the characters, I think, have good kind of arcs and everything. Bill Murray's an asshole, but Bill Murray's really good in it too. Bruce Willis is great. I love the kids. I don't really know them as well, you know. I'm sure they're grown up now, and I'm like, duh, I couldn't even recognize them there, you know. But the acting's tremendous. The music's tremendous. I really enjoyed it. I really kind of, like, the first time watch, I was like, oh man, this is damn near a perfect movie for me. It was interesting. It was unique. And not being familiar with the director's other films, like, I think that it was something different for me, and I needed that. I needed to see a lot of different things, because you always constantly watch a lot of the same kind of films over and over again. And this was refreshing and great for me, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought that the production design was top notch too, of course, and lots of great colors. And the script's told in a different kind of way, how it jumps around and everything like that, and it's just really kind of fantastic, and it unfolds the story really well and makes the characters a little bit more complex. But I really dug it. That's Moonrise Kingdom.
What kind of bird are you?
I'm a sparrow. She's a dove.
No, I said, what kind of bird are you? Dear Susie, here's my plan.
Dear Sam, my answer is yes.
Dear Susie, 1.
Dear Sam, where?
Dear Susie, walk 400 yards due north from your house to the dirt path which has not got any name on it. Turn right and follow to the end. I will meet you in the meadow.
Who's missing? Shukusky, you in there? Jiminy Cricket, he flew the coop.
Walt, where the hell are you?
Right here.
Does it concern you that your daughter has just run away from home?
That's a loaded question. Until help arrives, I'm deputizing the little guy, the skinny one, and the boy with the patch on his eye to come with me in the station wagon.
C'est le temps de l'amour, le temps des copains et de l'aventure.
What am I looking at?
He does watercolors, mostly landscapes, but a few nudes.
If we find him, I'm not going to be the one who forgot to bring a weapon. Me neither.
Where's the boy? I'm told that he's just been struck by lightning.
It's true.
I'll be out back. I'm going to find a tree to chop down.
Okay, the next Patreon pick is from Dustin Mills, and he picked John Wick 3, Portobellum. Is it Parabellum? Which I believe, I can't remember what that fricking means. I remember I knew when I was watching it what it meant. But at this point, John Wick has been excommunicado by Ian McShane at the end of part 2. So everybody's after John Wick. Everybody wants to kill John Wick. It's just him and his dog versus the world. So he's on the run. And of course, he's going to run into a bunch of crazy assassins. And right off the gate, this one, right off the bat, I guess I should say, or right out the gate, mix those two up. But you guys know what I meant. Right away, all these guys are trying to kill him. And there's different kind of gangs and everything like that. But there's a fantastic scene that made me laugh out loud and just kind of jump in glory here, where they have this battle in an antique weapon shop, and they just start throwing. They're fighting, and then they look over, and there's a bunch of knives, and they just start grabbing the knives out of the cases and throw them at each other. And I was always the one to kind of complain about the CGI gun use and gunplay in these movies, and there is CGI like knife use in here, but for some reason, all the non-gunplay in the John Wick movies, I love. And this one has a bunch of non-gunplay. I thought it was tremendous. But basically, John Wick's going to call back all his favors to try to save himself between this and everything. So it becomes like this international picture, like an old like Gialli would come through, where it's like we're gonna jump all the different kind of, remember those international movies where it's like every Ronin's like that, where it's like every 5 minutes we're in a different geographical like country or anything like that. So it's like boom, we're here, and this movie's like we're in the desert, we're in like a Russia district and everything. So they go through all the people that John Wick kind of got favors from in the last movie, like Lawrence Fishburne, and then they actually go to Angelica Houston, who like runs kind of like a Russian place where John Wick kind of grew up. So he calls in all these favors, and he has Halle Berry help him. So all these different kind of cast members come in and have great fight scenes and shootouts and everything like that. So this one was I enjoyed it the most. I know a lot of people, I think this one might be the least favorite. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to how people like these. I just know they enjoy the John Wick movies. This one was most enjoyable for me. This and the first one. I thought 2, for some reason, it let me down a little bit. But there's an adjudicator, which is absolute asshole character, which she was really great in it too. Really like kind of like stone cold women in part 2 and 3, but I really enjoyed it, and it ends to leave a sequel, of course. But the fights are cool. The ending has some great stuff. Enjoyable cast. Lawrence Fishburne's great in it. Angelica Houston was cool in it. Keanu's solid. Ian McShane's good. The adjudicator was good. Just enjoyed it. Liked it. It was just fast paced and good action, and there's no real complaints about John Wick Chapter 3. Really liked it.
You have no idea what's coming.
Mr. Wick broke the rules. I trust you understand the repercussions if he survives.
John Wick, excommunicado, is now in effect.
You shouldn't be here. Nice suit.
Good to see you too. I need your help.
After this, we are less than even.
There's no escape for you. The High Table wants your life.
Would you help set the mood for our new guest?
Let us begin.
Our service is still off limits to me. What do you need? Guns. Lots of guns.
You think you can take John Wick? You've got a nasty surprise coming.
I've been looking forward to meeting you for a long time. And so far, you haven't disappointed.
We can keep this up as long as you'd like. But this only ends one way.
All of this for what? Because of a puppy?
Wasn't just a puppy.
Okay, the next Patreon pick is from Jason Willard, and he picked Undisputed 2, Last Man Standing. I must admit, I don't know if I ever saw Undisputed 1 by Walter Hill with Wesley Snipes and Ving Rhames. I feel like when it came out, it was one that I saw parts of, and I just don't know if I ever watched the whole thing or saw any of it, to be honest. I'm a big Walter Hill fan, so I should go back and check it out. But Undisputed 2 follows the character from Part 1, Ving Rhames' character, Ice Chambers. He's like a famous boxer. And Ice Chambers in this one is played by Michael Jai White. Michael Jai White is freaking huge in this movie. I never registered how big this dude was. He played in a bunch of movies. He's in a couple, Jesse, what the hell's that guy's name? But he did, The Accident Man with also with Scott Adkins in it, and Michael Jai White's in that. He's in Dragged Across Concrete, and I want to say he's freaking Spawn, if I'm not messing that up. But anyways, he's really good in this. He ends up being a down on his luck boxer because probably he was in prison and he has a lot of problems and everything. So his manager convinces him to go to Russia to shoot some commercials, and right out he has a chip on his shoulder. He's just not very happy with what he's going through. He is framed because they want him to go to this Russian prison and fight this super champ that's like 38-0 in Scott Adkins, who's Boyka, and he's just a super powerful Russian that just devastates and destroys everything he comes in contact with. So they set Michael Jai White up to go to this Russian prison. A bunch of corrupt people in this area. He ends up going to this prison, and he doesn't want to fight. He's hard to break, but eventually over time he decides to do the fight but he changes completely. So we have this really nice character arc in Michael Jai White's, and he's like starts off as like being not like heartless, but over time he kind of like gains the trust of the prisoners and completely reverses them and reverses the prison and from this like horrible place that follows Boyka and worships him and everything like that. Scott Adkins is really good in this movie. Scott Adkins is an Accident Man, Avenged, tons of stuff. Just a really good martial artist, very funny. This one he's really intense. He usually has like quirky, good, funny lines. This one he's really intense and just kind of scary. The fights in here are really great. Kind of reminded me of something almost like, I don't want to say Bloodsport because they're a little bit more realistic than that, or Best of the Best 2, but they're in that kind of remind me of those kind of movies from back in the day. But there's some really good fight scenes, even though guys would be dead after like one or two of these punches. But pretty extreme fights and everything like that. Enjoyable stuff. And the fights with Michael Jai White and Scott Adkins are really cool. There's a nice character in here of this kind of old Russian guy in a wheelchair, and you get his whole backstory. And it actually becomes somewhat touching. Much more touching than you would actually expect for a movie called Undisputed Part 2. But good entertaining movie. There's training montages like all good fight movies should have. Recommended. Very enjoyable. Russian prison movie mixed with a fighting movie. Come on, gotta go for it.
This is your Bible.
Oh, yes, sir. I take the good book with me everywhere I go. That is not mine.
In a foreign land where corrupt men will stop at nothing to get their amusement and money, a former champion must enter a whole new ring.
It's incredible that I'm sharing a cell with George Chambers here.
In this facility, we think very highly of fighters.
We're a great champion. But in here, I am the champion.
You know what it feels like to be in here for nothing? You better turn around and get me the fuck out of here.
I will. You cannot stop me from doing what I have to do.
I ain't fighting, man.
Listen, George, we're all gonna make a ton of money.
Motherfucker, I'll kill your motherfucking ass.
Go with the program. Best way to stay healthy. front.
Fucking pussy, get up.
You think I need you to drag my opponents?
Hey, this is all a street fighting anyway, and that's what I'm from. I'll just go home on his ass.
Okay, the next Patreon pick is Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping, I think is what it's called. And Jeremy from 22 Shots picked this one. This stars Andy Samberg, and my friends have been trying to get me to watch this for years. Like, you gotta watch Popstar, it's so funny, it's so funny. It's just, and I've heard like, this is the modern day, this is Spinal Tap. So I put this in, and within like 3 minutes, I was like, oh, I don't know about this at all. Because it's parodying something that I hate. You know, I kind of hate that, like, dumb pop star that just is completely clueless and just lives a gifted life and has no idea what normal people go through. But after like 5-10 minutes, I was into it. The cast is amazing. Of course, Andy Samberg, a couple of his other friends that have always been in as Trooper in this. Then we have Tim Meadows. We have Sarah Silverman. Who else pops up in here? Bill Hader. There's a lot of people in here. And then there's tons of people playing themselves, too, like 50 Cent, Usher. All these people just pop up, and they're basically in on the joke and even making fun of themselves throughout it. But it follows the story of Andy Samberg's character. I can't think of what they call him in here, but he's basically this pop star who's on the rise. He's a complete moron. But he makes songs like "I'm Not Gay," but it's like it's supposed to be a positive like gay song, but it's just really insulting and hilarious. And it's like "Fuck Mona Lisa," songs like that. Just absolutely ridiculous songs, but they're very hilarious and catchy and stupid. So he's like this kind of pop star that's really popular. And he, you know, it shows him going on tour and he's like in fame, but then he has like a horrible album and does this really dumb thing where he puts his songs tied into like washers and dryers and shit. And it kind of has his empire crumble down. But the whole thing, the whole story is like there's 3 original guys. I don't remember what they're called, and they kind of broke up. And it's always been kind of like him ruining it and being like selfish, conceited, all this kind of stuff. And that's really the backdrop. And the whole movie, you're hoping that things will work out. And there's lots of, you know, immature gags and funny things like that, like a woman sticking her breast on the window and then turns over and it's a guy and it's a dick hanging out, just crazy stuff like that. Just, you know, immature stuff, but it's funny and sometimes it's clever. Just really ridiculous things. And at the end, it does have a nice feel-good story, like feel-good ending. And after watching Uncut Gems, I was not ready for something that wasn't a feel-good ending, because I was just like, I don't really want to go. I know it's a comedy and I know it's like, you know, silly and stupid, and even if the ending is downbeat, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But after watching Uncut Gems, I was like, I need a happy ending, and Popstar delivered on that. But there's lots of moments where I laughed out loud hysterically, probably because, you know, like you're cringing, but it's really close to being real, but it's also so stupid. It's just like ridiculous, very funny stuff, works really well. I don't know if I could compare it to This Is Spinal Tap, but I can see why people are.
Okay, where to start? Ever since I was born, I loved music. As soon as I could, I started a band.
Right away, we knew he was something special.
Gosh. Immediately, I said, man, this guy right here, he's gonna make it big.
Connor, for real, is actually saving the record industry.
Everybody's just waiting to see, like, what he does next.
Connor's hot.
You tell me you didn't see him and say, yo, he's the star.
It's Connor. I've got it all, and I'm getting more. Adam Levine's hologram. So expensive.
Connor currently has 32 people on his personal payroll.
Sure, Connor surrounds himself with people who are agreeable.
Bar none. We're like McCartney and Kanye. And yeah,
all my woodwork, it's kind of my passion. This one's a mask, still me.
I'd love to get Connor to the point where he's just kind of everywhere, like oxygen or gravity or clinical depression. He's just everywhere.
I make sure all the instruments are tip-top. No one really plays guitar, but we got him here in case he wants one.
Deborah's a genius.
It's pronounced Deborah.
What's the origin of that?
I believe Deborah?
It's not a competition, but I'm winning. You won't give me a minute because I'm so. a way, being gracious is my weakness. People say I'm so unpretentious for a genius.
You know, it takes a village to make me look dope.
Okay, now we're going to start this run through 91, and the first one I'm going to talk about is from Vinegar Syndrome, and that is, of course, Dolly Dearest. Yeah! And every time I talk about Dolly Dearest, I bring up the fact that the first time I saw this, I was like 10 years old, and we were camping, and it was in a trailer. And I was just like, is there any better way? I think the only way to watch Dolly Dearest is in a trailer. I don't know why. It just feels like that to me. Like watching it on that little tiny screen, and I was like, it's just perfect. You know, like camping. And I don't know why. It just feels like that. So Dolly Dearest is made in 91, the same year as Child's Play 3. It is most definitely a Child's Play inspired ripoff kind of movie. It stars Denise Crosby. You guys will recognize her from Miracle Mile, but more, importantly, I think for most horror fans, of course, is Pet Sematary, where she plays the mother. So Denise Crosby is the wife. Sam Bottoms is the husband, one of the Bottoms brothers. The other two are Timothy and Joseph Bottoms. So Sam Bottoms, I believe Sam Bottoms died very young. So he was kind of the brother that died maybe a few years, like 10 years after this, 11 years after this, somewhere. Maybe 2004 is when I think he did die of cancer. So Sam Bottoms is the father in this, and then we have Rip Thorne, of course, as a Hispanic or a Mexican, because they're in Mexico. I don't want to say Hispanic is more of a broader term in Mexico. Might as well use Mexican, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe so. He's like a Mexican kind of archaeologist, obsessed with, or is an anthropologist. Correct me again, but he studies, like tombs and all that kind of Egyptian, not necessarily Egyptian, but like past cultures and everything. So I think it's anthropologist, but the study of civilizations. Is that correct? But anyways, I'm getting way too details about, Dolly Dearest. So regardless, Sam Bottoms buys this old doll factory because he hears the specs on it that he's going to be able to be very successful making money. Moves his whole family down to Mexico, his wife and 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl. And they check out the doll factory, and there's still some dolls left behind. It's kind of a dump. And right below is this weird kind of, it's not a Mayan, tomb, but they think it is. It's like a Santayan, which is probably a made-up kind of culture. It's satanic below the site. So she takes home one of the dolls, and the doll is, of course, possessed with, like kind of a spawn of Satan or something like that. Antichrist kind of deal. Not Antichrist, but like definitely a demon evil thing that they're trying to bring back. Whatever. So essentially what happens is the doll starts to kind of twist the girl and make her a little bit evil. The mom starts to realize no one believes her. It's very tropey in a lot of ways, but I didn't hate this movie, to be honest. I thought that the mechanics in the doll's face were actually pretty solid, pretty good. I thought they were creepy. There's only a couple kills in here, but the kills are pretty effective and pretty gory, and it is a little bit uneventful, a little bit slow for a lot of people. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed it. I don't have much to say about Dolly Dearest, to be honest. There's not really that much to dive into for it. The plot's kind of ludicrous. Like I said, it gets to all these crazy things where it's like they were trying to resurrect a goat kid, half goat, half boy, and that's what's in the dolls, and like more than one doll come to life. But like I said, there is a couple, kind of gory deaths here and there. And the way that people are killed is kind of sad. But Rip Thorne's okay in it. Sam Bottoms is okay. Denise Crosby's okay. The acting's fine. Nothing really wrong with it. But I think the doll is the best part. I think they did a decent job with how the doll moved and how the face mechanics moved and everything like that. And some of the little scary gags are decent. And the suspense is not bad for these kind of movies at all, really. Vinegar Syndrome cleaned it up. It looks pretty good. It sounds pretty good. For Dolly Dearest especially, it's better than I remembered. And so I'd give it a slight recommend. I kind of liked it. On the disc, there is an interview with Denise Crosby talking about this one. And there's an interview with the guy who played in the Dolly Dearest suit. He also played, I think, in one of the Child's Play movies, maybe the first one, as, kind of the stuntman Child's Play, as the buddy doll. So that's kind of cool. So, yeah, Dolly Dearest.
This is the doll your daddy's going to make in Mexico. This is the factory where we're going to make her and sew her little dresses. My first sale.
Sweet dreams, Dolly. Good night, Dolly. You're going to be my new playmate.
These creatures are very haunting.
Why did you push Camilla? Dolly told me. Stop saying that. Dolly locked the door. She doesn't like people coming in here.
Oh, my God. She's in the dollhouse.
Our
house. She scared me. Really scared me.
We can't just pack up because our 7-year-old is having a tantrum.
What is happening to my daughter? The devil takes any form it desires. It will do anything to spread its word to the children. I'm taking the doll out of the bed, and I don't want to hear another word about it.
I'll kill you! I'll kill you if you try to separate us!
It's the doll. It's controlling her somehow.
What you're saying is completely irrational.
How can I stop it?
You wanna be next?
It's too late.
I'm sorry, Mommy.
Okay, the next run through 91, I think was made in 89, but not released till 91. And this is Alien Killer, a.k.a. The Borrower. And I want to say I have a VHS here, too, of The Borrower, which I will show you because I'm that guy. Just going to grab it out here. It's Alien Killer. It's a German DVD, but you guys will remember it more as The Borrower. Who put this out? Canon Video. Yeah. I've always kind of liked this one. This is John McNaughton, the director of Henry, Mad Dog and Glory, Wild Things. I think he's a little bit underrated. All the movies I've seen have been good to watchable. So, The Borrower, 91. This is kind of a body jumping, hopping movie, you know, like Fallen or First Power or Shocker or The Hidden or any of those kind of movies. So, what we have here is this alien. It starts off in space, this alien telling this other guy that he's been demoted. He is being put into a human body and being transferred to Earth for punishment. But the de-evolution sometimes will kind of mess up the body source. So basically they send this guy down, crashing down to Earth. And I can't think of who he is, but he's kind of a famous, or he's in a couple movies, and I can't remember exactly who he is. But he's a baddie. He's a baddie in a movie, and I looked him up, and it's just not bringing it up to me. So essentially he crash lands on Earth, and he runs into, of course, Tom Tolles, who's in Henry, of course, another McNaughton movie, and Mad Dog and Glory, another McNaughton movie. So he runs into Tom Tolles and his son, and they're out there illegally going to poach deer. Tom Tolles, love Tom Tolles. He plays a good old boy in this, kind of an idiot. And Tom Tolles is the first body that the borrower takes. So we have Tom Tolles acting all messed up with his head. So they take the head off and put it on the body. So basically he needs a new head and wanders around or something crazy like that. So it's really bonkers. So they're like be old bodies every time he switches bodies. And basically he runs into, what is that actor's name? He's in a slew of things. He's in, what is it, Coffee or Foxy Brown? I might have to cheat and look him up because I just feel really bad about forgetting who he is off the top of my head. Antonio Fargas. There we go. So basically, there's a good patch of this movie with Tom Tolles being crazy and hanging out with Antonio Fargas as a homeless guy. Enjoy the hell out of that. But Ray Dae Chong is basically a cop, and she's kind of dealing with her own thing. She's almost an extreme cop. Her partner's Don Gordon from the last movie with Dennis Hopper. So these two are cops, and they're kind of on the trail of this weird case that nobody can really figure out. And there's also kind of a criminal that Chong keeps running into that she just has a lot of problems with. Chong's also in Commando, if you guys recognize her from that. So essentially what happens is they keep jumping bodies and keep finding gooey special effects and remnants behind that, while this other criminal that she doesn't like is kind of, doing a whole bunch of crimes as well. But the end of the movie gets really bonkers and crazy, and I absolutely love that part. It gets really weird, and it makes it go up a whole notch for it because, sometimes there's just not human bodies left to be taken. That's all I'm going to say. But I enjoy it. It gets crazy, and there's a couple people that die in the movie that I'm like, oh man, I wish they didn't bite it like that. But I'm a big Tom Tolles fan, so seeing him get to do this role was really fun. I had watched this years ago, but it had been so long. But regardless, I think The Borrower is a pretty fun movie from 91. I would recommend checking it out if you guys haven't seen it. You can import a German DVD. Doesn't look that great, to be honest, but it's better than not having it.
Thanks to Warlock and Hellraiser, the horror genre is hot again.
Isn't that something?
Now, from the critically acclaimed director of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, comes The Borrower, a new kind of horror film.
There ain't nobody gonna believe this.
An alien serial killer from another universe comes to Earth.
You are weird. Weird.
It's a monster.
And Ray Don Chong is the detective who must find him.
Oh my God.
Not since Reanimator has there been such a movie. The Borrower, the ultimate head trip.
Kinda cute. Kinda.
John McNaughton's The Borrower.
Okay, the next to run through 91 is Alligator 2, The Mutation. That's right. This is the sequel to the great Alligator, which I love, by Louis Teague. This is made in 91. It has, what's the guy's name? Joseph Bologna, or whatever the hell his name is. He's in Transylvania 6-5000. He plays this cop. Also has Richard Lynch as an alligator poacher. His brother is Kane Hodder, which is fun. It has Steve Railsback in it, of course, as a corrupt kind of weird realtor that wants to keep this swamp area open so he can buy people's houses, but you know damn well what's in the swamp. Alligator. It's a Jaws ripoff. And then we have Dee Wallace, who I absolutely love as well. So we got a decent cast in this movie, a very good B-movie cast. So this is really just as all these creature movies are like Jaws ripoffs, like Piranha or Grizzly or Alligator, this one is a quintessential Jaws ripoff. Steve Railsback, to me, he always seems a little miscast. I don't know why. Sometimes he's okay, but a lot of times in other, Steve Railsback just seems really odd in performances. So he basically puts pressure on the mayor to keep the town open, and there is a mutation alligator within the sewer system eating people. You don't see much of the alligator. There's lots of talking in here and there. Brock Peters is also in here. You'll recognize him. But the alligator starts eating people here and there, like I said, and it attacks the homeless population, one of which is actually played by the guy from Beetlejuice who's been flattened. He's also in the old dude in Wedding Singers, like, I got sounds like a country song. That old guy who's in a million frickin' movies, he's in here. So that was nice to see. But really, this one's kind of uneventful. It picks up at the end when Richard Lynch comes in and Kane Hodder, but it's just kind of a slog to get there. It's not that enjoyable, to be honest. The first one's so great that I did have a little bit of expectations, and I haven't watched this one since I've been a kid, but you can probably skip this one. It has a decent cast. They're kind of wasted. And the alligator's kind of wasted. It's just kind of weird. And I think it takes place in Florida. You see palm trees and everything like that. So it's like an alligator in the sewer. Is it that unheard of in Florida? Like in New York, it was almost like, oh, that alligator got flushed on the toilet and it got toxic waste, and it was more of an environmental thing. And it had just, I don't know, it just played a little bit more straight than this one. But, I don't know. It's just, I would probably pass. This one's right down the middle. It's just kind of mediocre.
It happened once before. It killed 17 people and terrorized an entire city. The experts said it could never happen again. But experts can be wrong.
My father and my uncle didn't come home last night. My mother's upset. In 30 years, he's never been out all night.
Well, there was a boot that washed up on South Shore this afternoon.
Maybe somebody chucked it.
Yeah, I don't know if they did. They did it the hard way. The foot was still in it.
Doc's right. This is a scissor bite, definitely animal.
Alligators and crocodiles in the sewer. Is that possible?
It's not safe to stay, lady. Times have changed.
You tell Mr. Brown that we are not helpless fishermen. We will fight.
One renegade cop stands between the corrupt politicians and a devastating massacre.
Less than 24 hours. Vinnie Brown is going to turn the whole lake area into party town. We've got to stop him.
I know how you feel about Vincent Brown, but he and the mayor, they're about to put this city on the map.
This is my deal, my money. And if what you say is true, I'll take care of it.
This Brown, he might be a bad dude. So what? This is Crazy Boy's turf.
You've got until noon tomorrow. Brown's hunters haven't found that thing by then. I'm barricading the park.
That bad old gator scaring the crud out of everyone, is he? I'm gonna have to have me a talk with that old boy.
That alligator survived a body chemistry saturated with hormone-bonded adrenaline. It's no telling what it could be right now. It's a mutant. It's a machine. It's a thing.
His home's been invaded. He's gonna stake out new territory. That means a rampage, Hodges.
That thing out there, it's still alive. I can feel it.
It's a walking bomb, David.
Kill the thing.
Kill it!
Alligator 2. The Mutation.
Get out of here.
Hey guys, what's up? Stop it. Hey guys, what's up? This is Blindspot Week 3. This is Jeremy's second pick. And I can't see nothing. But this is Jeremy's second pick. This is Dr. X, actually directed by Michael Curtiz, who directed Casablanca, which is insane to me that the same guy did that movie. But Jeremy, why don't you tell the people why you picked this movie?
Because it's in a song I like.
Yeah, he picked it because the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Right.
Fay Ray and Dr. X or whatever, right?
Dr. X will build a creature.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Dr. X does not build a creature in this.
That was false advertising Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's got to take a star off Rocky Horror for that.
Oh, absolutely. And that started this.
Stop it. Okay, this movie was, this is a 30s one. It's pretty early.
Yeah.
In Technicolor, and Warner Brothers put it out. I don't think it was originally Warner Brothers. It's probably a smaller company that distributed it. But I had never seen this. I just knew it by name. I never really paid attention. It stars the guy, was it Atwood? He's in a bunch of the Universal horror movies playing like a police detective or somebody like that. And Fay Ray from King Kong. And to me, those are really only familiar people in the movie.
Those are the only two people that I would actually recognize.
I'm sure the other guys are in hundreds of movies, maybe even a lot I've seen. But the plot of this one, we have some kind of Jack the Ripper style murders happening, and it's been done with a surgical scalpel, so the police detectives kind of narrow it down to this one medical establishment ran by Dr. Xavier, Dr. X, and some people call him like Dr. Xavier or some shit like that.
Yeah, they pronounce his name really
in a French way or something. So there's like 5 or 6 doctors that could be possible culprits. So the doctor convinces the police force that he's going to hold, I can figure this out. So they basically go to this isolated location to try to reenact the crimes to figure out who is the killer. And Dr. X is not very smart how he tries to figure it out. He has like people tied down in a chair for a lie detector, whatever.
Like it's like it'll fill you with primordial rage, and I got this rage meter that'll fill up with you.
When were lie detector tests made? Because this is essentially just like an elaborate lie detector test of nonsense.
Oh yeah, this whole movie is nonsense.
It's sci-fi mostly, and it's a sci-fi murder mystery, which is kind of a weird combination. I never really thought it like that.
Yeah. It's got some twists in there.
Yeah, definitely inspired by Jack the Ripper and like a Dr. Jekyll
thing going on. Invisible Man, I think, to a degree.
Oh, Invisible Man, the book probably, not the movie.
Well,
the story by Wells.
Yeah.
Because Invisible Man, I don't think the movie is made before. This was made before Invisible Man.
Oh, it probably was.
It was.
Yeah, because this is
32, I want to say.
Did you say it's after Dracula and before Frankenstein?
It's after Frankenstein too, I think. Frankenstein was 33, right? So yeah, it's even before, so it's 32. Yeah. Or Frankenstein 31. I think it's 33. I think Dracula and Mummy are 31 and Frankenstein's 33. Well, I'm not 100%. But regardless, it's right around that time.
And those movies all existed, I think, in silent film too.
Well, Frankenstein's monster appeared in other stuff, and obviously the novelization. So it definitely has that real heavy sci-fi stuff. And I'm not too familiar with any horror movies really before the Universal horror movies, besides like
Right.
Nosferatu and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I guess this is probably fairly ahead of its time. It's probably more like the pulp novels and stuff at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And even the monster. I think has,
Synthetic flesh.
That was fantastic. I thought he had a very Nosferatu kind of move, like the way that he was walking. He was doing the creepy grandpa walk.
The synthetic flesh part literally made me gag.
Yes.
And it doesn't stop. It's like 3 minutes of just
Yeah.
putty. And if anybody knows who Connors is, Dr. Connors from Spider-Man, it's kind of like that storyline. Do you remember the lizard?
Oh yeah,
it's just like that.
I was
in a
thinking
way.
more Clayface from Batman, but
He looks like
yeah.
Clayface. So essentially, like the murder, it's like there's a twist in who it is. I mean, it's nothing really graphic and everything like that. How'd you think of Fay Wray? Pretty generic or pretty average in this?
Oh, I liked her.
Yeah, she was fine. But
she
I mean,
was fine. I like the butler and the maid better.
the butler was just a ghoul.
Butler was actually just a ghoul. Like it was like the Phantom unmasked. Like
Yeah.
Like I kind of thought that he was the killer just with how creepy he looked. And actually,
I think that was the intent.
well, all the doctors, they were all kind of weird looking.
That was a good comic gag because this definitely has some dark comedy.
Yeah, like so when the inspector shows up at Dr. X's laboratory, he's like, well, introduce me to the different doctors and we'll see who it is. And like this is one guy with like an eye patch and like a scar on his face.
He looks like he would have been on the council in Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
just
I mean,
is the general.
You know, like one's like missing an arm, one's paralyzed.
And
from
they
the
all
waist
have really
down.
dumb stories. Whether they're like they got stranded on a boat together, and one of them they think they ate him and
Right.
reverted to cannibalism. So like one guy's in a wheelchair. They let the one guy off like couldn't have been him. She was strangled and he has one hand, but the guy in the wheelchair somehow did it. Like wheeled up
Right.
to her and strangled her. It's just like whatever, Dr. X, man. You got to get your priorities straight.
And the guy in the wheelchair is like the most defiant. It's like, I'm not doing this experiment on principle. Like, why does he get to go and I'm here?
And
I'm
then
like-
everybody's like, shut up. He's like, okay, I'll do it.
Right. There is a news reporter.
He is kind of annoying.
He's annoying. He's maybe like the hero of the story. Like he gets.
Who did we think he reminded us of? Like partially Jimmy Stewart and partially like I don't want to say David Caruso is how he kind of looked, but he reminded us maybe the guy from the Hammer remake of Old Dark House kind of too.
Yeah.
Like that kind of putzy. Although I like the guy from Old Dark House a little bit better.
Well, and the comedy I think is very similar in Old Dark House as this, because this guy's like a prankster, this news reporter.
And the original Old Dark House I think is 32 too.
Oh really?
But I don't think it's as comedic as this 50s one or 60s.
Like he has like
60s.
like the handshake buzzer where. Like and that comes into play. Like
That reminds me of Mr. Boogedy too, the movie Mr. Boogedy, the Disney movie, because like the family basically sells trinkets and gadgets like that. That's what they do, and they run into a ghost. So it's kind of weird to add that horror element of like trickery within the character. So it definitely reminds me of that.
There's.
Do you think he fits in this though?
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
I mean, he's there to save the day.
Sort
I
of.
guess he's like reporting. Yeah, I guess he doesn't really need to be in this movie.
And
it
reporters
starts
do?
with him.
Reporters used to be like heroes in movies. Now
Yeah.
no one would ever make a reporter a hero.
But
People
you know,
hate reporters.
But you know what though? Faye is it Faye?
Fay Wray.
I can't say it. Faye Wray. She hates him. Like she's like
For a long time.
Like you media reporters are always putting a negative spin on things. You just won't leave people alone. And
But she does fall in love with him.
She does fall in love with him.
So it does have the story of keep bothering someone until they fall in love.
Right.
With you. That's like
Right.
classic movie, like that right there.
But it's also got like that contemporary feel, like the media is controlling you, and
Nobody likes reporters.
Yeah, no one has ever liked a reporter.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't have that much to say about this movie though. After that,
I really don't. It's like worth a watch.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
yeah. It's kind of a classic, and the Technicolor is really weird. I guess there was 2 versions shot at the same time. The Technicolor was made for the States, and overseas was everywhere else was the black and white. And the Technicolor wasn't found until 1978 when Jack Warner died, the guy from Warner Brothers, and they found it in his personal collection, and then they remastered it and released it.
That's what, because you had mentioned something like that, and so I thought that the movie itself was lost. So
Yeah.
they always had just the overseas edition.
I think,
then.
well, just the black and white shot simultaneously.
Okay, yeah.
It did throw me off when I saw the Technicolor. I was like, was this like Ted Turner? You know, like when he went back and like colorized all the classics, like Night of the Living Dead and shit. You're
Right.
like, am I going to see a bunch of fucking bright green zombies in here?
And like the Technicolor is so old that like it didn't look like color to me at first.
Yeah.
It took a long, and even now when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, was it in color?
Yeah, like we're not too familiar with Technicolor. I'm not. Like I'm
Right.
sure I've seen a lot of it, but I just don't even register it because it looks so old.
Like-
We were like, is this in sepia tone?
Yeah, well, and you know, a lot of the film is at night to
Yeah,
begin
yeah.
with, so like I just figured that they had like a tint, but then you see like hints of blues and greens every now and then. When did Wizard of Oz come out?
Synthetic flesh.
God, I can't. It's really just like a 3-minute
He said
section
it like 3 times though.
of this guy just putting putty on his face, and
It
then
looks so gross though.
oh yeah,
He's a cool looking monster.
he was a cool looking monster. At first though, it was just kind of like, what are you doing? And then like eventually we get the mask on.
What were we gonna say? Wizard of Oz came out around, I think I want to say 30s too.
Yeah, so like you watch this, and then you think of the color scenes in Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz is state of the art. There's
Yeah.
a reason that Wizard of Oz is so iconic.
Right, yeah.
When did Wizard of Oz come out?
I think it was in the 30s. I always think
Are we
it's
gonna make
later.
an ass of ourselves when it's in the 50s? I really, really feel dumb right now.
It's in the 30s.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like it's in the 30s.
Yeah, check in your book.
I'm always shocked when I find out when the Wizard of Oz came out.
Yeah, me too. And that's why I think it's in the 30s. Because it's like, they weren't doing that stuff in the 30s. That looks way too
Well,
good.
you go ahead and look through your review when I'm looking up the Wizard of Oz when I shouldn't
Okay.
be. All right.
Yeah. We gotta know. We don't have Wikipedia out here. We're not film experts, you know? We're
Oh.
just passionate fans. Actually, I'm not even that much of a fan of movies. Okay.
Well, Wizard of Oz isn't my strong point. You know what I mean?
Right? Ironically enough, it kind of is for me.
39.
39.
Yeah, we were right. 30s.
Okay. So, Dr. X, he does 3 stars out of 4.
And that's Tear on
1930.
Tape.
Tear on Tape, 3
Yep.
stars out of 4. I should show the book. MGM/UA, 1932. A bunch of stuff. Okay. Fun early 30s Technicolor chiller about a series of cannibalistic killings in New York City traced to Atwell's medical school, where he used his daughter Ray as bait to discover which member of his staff is the gruesome killer. Slightly better than the more popular Mystery of the Wax Museum from the same stars and director, this suffers from too much corny comic relief but has some really creepy scenes, including the famous synthetic flesh sequence as compensation. Which I agree, like, there is a lot of comedy in this,
Yeah.
and even some of, like, the horrible stuff, like, there's a part, like, where he said where he chains everybody to the chair and has his daughter, like, reenact, like, the killer, like getting killed, and it's, like, actually the killer there. And she's like, it's him, it's the actual killer. Everybody's, like, chained to the chairs, but they can't do anything. It's like, it's like, I don't know.
Okay.
It was
Creature
fun.
features John Stanley, Dr. X, 3 out of 5. This early Warner Bros. Horror Technicolor whodunit is set in the Gothic house of Blackstone Shoals, where the Full Moon Killer is one of several eccentric doctors. Lionel Atwill has gathered to reenact the crimes, which consist of a scalpel insertion at the base of the neck and cannibalism. Atwill's performance is intriguing, but other characters are stereotypes, such as Faye Ray as a daughter always screaming at the sight of her mysterious father, and Lee Tracy's wisecracking reporter, disruptive to the somber mood established by director Michael Curtiz. Despite predictabilities, Dr. X remains a nostalgic charm and morbid fascination. Preston Foster, Mae Bush, Video Laser, MGM, United Artist. So I am not too far off from the Creature feature book myself. I am at like a 6, 6.5.
Out of 5, I'd give it a 3.5.
You're a 7. I'm at 6.5. Let's go
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's fine. The killer had like a weird motivation since he was missing an arm. He was like, "Well, I've
Well,
been."
you spoiled it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anyways,
Synthetic
so he wants to make synthetic flesh to cure everybody who's disabled and yada yada yada. So you know,
Next week is Eyes Without a Face. Yes, I've never seen Eyes Without a Face.
I don't know what that is.
Never heard of it? It's a
Nope.
French movie. It's spectacular, supposed to be.
What's my next movie? Do we know?
No, I won't know that until next week.
My next movie is probably going to be better.
Then Eyes Without a Face?
Yes.
I doubt it.
I think Dr. X was better than Magic.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Carrie was better than Magic.
Carrie was it was Carrie versus Magic, which and then we're not versing.
We're versing.
And then okay, then Dr. X. I'm gonna win the next one. Eyes Without a Face has got to be Dr. X.
No, I don't think so. Do a poll. Make it like that.
Okay, okay. I'm not gonna argue Carrie versus Magic. We all know Carrie. If either of us don't agree, because we both agree Carrie's better than Magic.
Right.
So now we're gonna do Dr. X versus Eyes Without a Face. So let us know which one's better.
Yeah. So you can watch it. So we can spoil it for you because you'll know what we're talking about.
Yes. But I'm pretty sure both people watching this have seen Dr. X, or at least they've seen Eyes Without a Face.
Yeah, or they've heard the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and they can't wait for us to talk about Tarantula when they took to the hills.
All right. We're done.
Bye.
I'll agree to lay off for 48 hours. But I give you my word, if you don't succeed, I'll come in here, seal every door, place everybody under technical arrest, take fingerprints, conduct a rigid inspection. I don't care if the whole world knows it. There have been 6 murders committed all in the same circumstances. The evidence points here.
Another one.
If you only knew the things that have happened.
Are you worried about your father?
Yes, I am. Terribly.
Oh, the only thing I'm concerned about is your safety.
Say, what's the matter with you?
What's the matter with me? Nothing at all. Only all last night I lay down with a bunch of stiffs. Look at a lot of goofy guys, let a dame poke a gun in my stomach, and then I take a trick cigar from a dumb policeman.
It is my theory that one of us in the past, from dire necessity, was driven to cannibalism. The memory of that act was hammered like a nail into the mind of that man. Shrewd and brilliant. He could conceal his madness from the human eye, even from himself, but he can't conceal it from the eyes of the radio sensitivity.
Okay, let's get into these questions. Nick Mua, why do you think so many novellas and short stories get feature-length adaptations and not just short film adaptations? I think it's because, honestly, even if you look at film festivals or people's favorite movies, no one ever lists shorts. People just don't have as much passion or interest in shorts, and I feel like that's the truth. I've been wanting to learn more about the American Civil War. Any decent movies you can recommend besides Glory and Lincoln? I heard that though very controversial, both Gettysburg and Gods and Generals are very good. Ooh. You know, I don't know. I would recommend Glory. I remember that being a very good movie. Right off the top of my head, I can't really register any. There is a series that a lot of people really love, and friends when I was a kid used to swear by it, called North and South. And I think I even want to say that North and South, or is it Blue and Gray? Blue and Gray. There's a couple of them out there that I hear good things about. I think Warren Oates is actually in one of them. He might be in Blue and Gray. But you might want to check that out. It is an interesting war for sure. And, I've watched things on it a lot and obviously learned about it in school. But I can't really give any high recommendations on it. There's just not that many movies that come to mind off the top of my head. I know a lot of other people would be better at it. If someone gave you a ton of money to turn a short story into a full-blown feature, what would you do? Take the money and try to do a good job, do a crappy job, try to explain the short stories will really make good movies? I don't know. I would definitely try my best, but I would pick a short story that can be expanded upon, probably a Lovecraft story, because you can do a lot with that. Even though they're very hard to adapt, I think you could do a lot with it if you had a good idea. Ilk Vomit, hey, wait a minute. I thought Blindspot was both you guys picking movies for each other then you never seen. Like last week, didn't you have Jeremy watch Carrie? Okay, so that was your pick for him, right? But now for this week, this is a video said you picked Magic for yourself. I'm confused. No, actually, we picked 26 movies apiece that we haven't seen. So I picked 26 I haven't seen. Jeremy picked 26 he hasn't seen. Sometimes we talk each other into picking something here and there. But yeah, so it is that. So Jeremy picked Carrie. I picked Magic. He picked Dr. X. I picked Eyes Without a Face. So there is actually a list on Letterboxd, and they go in order. Jeremy, me. So check it out. There'll be a link below. We got some answers. I think last week I asked you guys your favorite places to... what franchise you wanted me to cover. So Nick Mua, so many franchises out there. Don't know if that's good or bad regarding horror. I would like you to cover the Hellraiser franchise. I know the past part 3, the series, took a nosedive. Non-horror, maybe Batman, Nolan versus Burton or something like that. Travis Lithcomb, I would love to see you cover Sleepaway franchise. Sleepaway Camp franchise, I know they already have done it on 22 Shots, so it'd be on here, I guess. That or Slumber Party Massacre. Hudson, how about you and make Jeremy Jeremy's day and review Stephen King movies. There's so many of them, you and Jeremy could review them forever and ever and ever. It ain't going to happen. Jeremy ain't going to do that. Ilk Vomit, also, come on, Dave. I've been wanting to see you cover the Godzilla franchise since forever. Watch 2 of them a day and you'll be done in 3 weekish. I don't know if I can do that. Eric Waters, Demons, Chris Truax, Brave Little Toaster. Is there more than a couple Brave Little Toaster movies? I think a franchise got to have 4. And Cody Harden puts Clown House. Of course he puts Clown House. He puts that for everything. Alex Powers. Have you ever reviewed any of the Watchers movies? I love the book. The first 2 are pretty good. The third and fourth, not so much. I've actually seen Watchers. I don't remember if I watched part 2. I know I've seen 1 and 3. Never reviewed them, though. Robert D. Blind Dead, that's a great one. Adam Fram, Maniac Cop, another good one. Michael Allen Fitzgerald, he has a lesson to teach and nobody's going to have a problem with it. The Substitute series, that'd be cool. Jason Fetters, Friday the 13th. Christine Walden, Hostel. Ron Munster, Godzilla. Sean Donahue, Witchcraft. Sean Donahue. I made a comment that said, now you're just being mean. He said, yeah, it would definitely be a challenge. Peter Engelin, I mentioned it before, and would take at least a half year. At least 25 movies, including Never Say Never Again, and all the James Bond movies, actors who played them, the villains, the Bond girls, all the actors who were in the Bond movies, plus it's just entertaining and probably the best and oldest franchise ever. James Higgins, Alien. Rakesh Brown, Necrostorm. Scott W. Davis, I just found out there were 8 Aztec mummy movies. I thought there was 3 or 4. I don't know the Aztec mummy movies. Do not want to watch them, though. Jay Ranella, mummy movies are rarely good. Scanners. Phil Herman, Hellraiser. Mark Humphreys, Godzilla, Showa era. Zach Puccinelli, Walking Tall. Good one. John Ward, Camp Blood. Ricky Pacewitz, anything that has Patrick Swayze in it, preferred to be Roadhouse. Not doing it. Dave Z, Paranormal Activity. Jordan Bibby, Wishmaster. Jordan Bibby, Ghoulies. I already did Ghoulies. Mark Zelinsky, I still can't believe they made a movie called Ghoulies 3 Ghoulies Go to College. That's Jonathan Willem, Highlander. Peter McCain, he seconds that. Chris Mayo, Violent Shit. I actually covered them, but not on the weekly videos. Dustin Mills, Mirror Mirror. I tried to watch the first Mirror Mirror a couple months ago and turned it off. I don't know, was not feeling it. Dustin Mills, Does It Have to Be Horror? If Not, The Man with No Name trilogy. Derek B, Evil Bong / Ginger Dead Man. Brad Veach, Curse. I've never seen them and just got in the Blu-ray combo of the first and second movie. Going to watch them this weekend. Don't watch the third one. Pretty bad. Kaiser Soze, horror franchise-wise, I say the Warlock films. Mike Mitchell, Wishmaster. David Luton, Scream. Salvador Funkenstein, Phantasm, or maybe even Amityville before the remake. Justin Patrick, Phantasm. Lee Bishop, Phantasm. Shazim Barbarian, Vomit Gore. Ain't happening. Todd Summers, The Evil Dead, Peter Englund, or since Jeremy doesn't like Stephen King, all the adaptations, and y'all already did the first book adaptation, maybe he's going to appreciate King more after seeing the movies. Doubt it. Brian Sandler, Wrong Turn or Hatchet, Ron Munster. Okay, so on YouTube I put Godzilla, but I would love for you to do the Showa Air films for now. Godzilla, Godzilla Rides Again, King Kong vs. Godzilla, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Gaijira, The Three-Headed Monster, Invasion of the Astro Monster, Ibira, Horror of the Deep, Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters Attack, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, Terror of Mechagodzilla. 15 films, Dave, James Parker, you got this. And then we have some old answers of favorite places to buy physical media. Travis Linscomb, my favorite place to get physical media is Diabolik DVD or straight from the source. My favorite labels like Vinegar Syndrome or Severin. Lev Nemke, my favorite place to buy physical media online. I bought a bunch of stuff through eBay lately. And then we have some comments and information. Horseback 44, thrilled to hear you will be on another 22 Shots pod, Dave. Yep, this Human Centipede just went up a few days ago. Dead Flintstone, fun fact about People Under the Stairs, Everett McGill and Wendy Robbie also played husband and wife in Twin Peaks. Thought I mentioned that, but if I didn't, that's fun. And WTF, What the Flick, I love Bull Moose, wish there was a place like that in Michigan. So, yeah, I guess we're going to hop into the update. Okay, this is a quickie. We got Danger Diabolik from Shout Factory. This is a Mario Bava movie, of course. Had to have it. Never seen it. I hear great things about it. Gotta buy Bava on Blu-ray, right? And then we got some Vinegar Syndrome titles. Pale Blood. Never seen it. Wings Hauser, of course. Put this bad boy away. And then we got the Forgotten Gialli. I believe they're all Spanish, right? Nice set. Let's open it up, see what's in here. First we got Police Are Blundering in the Dark. We got The Killer is One of 13. And finally, Trauma. I guess we're going to hop back to the video. All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, you guys have a good one.